weeks away from the Winter Olympics, which you can catch right here on King 5. If you're looking to get into the Olympic spirit, we are here to help with 6 great Olympics-themed books from Sno-Isle librarian Jennifer Foreman. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are
Good
you?
morning. Fine, thanks.
Actually, super excited about some of these books. These are good ideas. Speed Kings, the 1932 Winter Olympics and the Fastest Men in the World by Andy Bull. Does that not sound great just right off?
Yeah, Speed Kings has so much going on in it. It's hard to believe that it's actually a nonfiction book. So this is a whole nonfiction book list. There's a lot of fiction books out there that are fun to read. The nonfiction really tells you what's going on.
Yeah, and the stories are just as good because there are all these amazing things we just don't know about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speed Kings tells the story of the 1932 men's bobsled team. The first man-made sled track was put in at Lake Placid. They ran 8,000 feet of pipe up the mountain and then iced that track.
Wow.
It was so dangerous that they actually considered stopping the event before the Olympics even took place. But these 4 very odd characters that got together to run this bobsled race, everything from a boxer and a lawyer. There was a movie star and kind of a playboy character in there. Their brakeman was referred to as a Gatsby-ish rogue and gambler. And
cool.
These 4 men got together and became the U.S. bobsled team. And the author does a great job then of taking us a little bit farther through that because, of course, 1932 is really just the threshold into World War II.
Right.
And these gentlemen found themselves then later in just a few years fighting in a war both with and against the athletes that they had actually competed with in the Olympics.
Such a time, 32, 36.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so that's a great one.
It is.
The next one we're going to talk about is The Fall Line, How American Ski Racers Conquered a Sport on the Edge by Nathaniel Benton. And frankly, the ski racing is my favorite part of the Winter Olympics. Because it's something I would never ever do.
No, we watch it from the comfort of our homes for a reason. The fall line itself, that definition is the shortest way to get down a slope based on gravity, which of course is what speed racers are trying to do. They're just doing it at 90 to 100 miles per hour on ice on blades. And so the fall line starts with the 2009 World Cup and kind of goes through to the 2010 Olympics. And it's explaining how the United States just could not find themselves on the podium for for the ski speed racing. And it was dominated by Europeans, by Austria, and of course the countries whose backyards are the Alps.
Right.
And so suddenly 2009 we see Bode Miller and Lindsey Vonn and Ted Ligety, Julia Mancuso. All of a sudden, this sort of perfect storm of young skiers came together and broke through that barrier and were able to get us on the podium.
What a wonderful book. That was such a cool time, and Bode Miller was such an interesting athlete.
Yes, yes.
So David Goldblatt's book, The Games, A Global History of the Olympics.
This is a heavy book. I did not read this book all in one sitting. At over 500 pages, it's not something I think that a person's just going to read through for a lot of pleasure. It is a social history, though, of the topic, and I think that's really important. So this is the modern Olympics, which actually started in 1896. So 1896 up through the fairly present time. The author is explaining things like the discriminations that were placed upon athletes because they were women or because they were people of color, because of their religious affiliation. He's talking just about that it's the bigger picture of what something that we really look at now as being easy and global really isn't easy and global at all.
Well, nothing ever was, right?
Exactly.
And that's part of what we're coming to terms with now. Apollo Anton Ono, which I think everybody is familiar with that name. Zero Regrets, Be Greater Than Yesterday. if I can say it. And he certainly was great and so popular here.
So popular. He is. He's, Seattle's local Olympian, really beloved in this area. Right. And this is a 2010 autobiography that he wrote. So he just finished his third Olympics. He competed in 3 different Olympics, and he is still the most decorated Winter Olympian, I believe, with 9 total medals that he won.
I don't think I realized that. Incredible. Right. So that book's been around, but if you haven't read it, very interesting. Norwich, One Tiny Vermont Town's Secret to Happiness and Excellence by Karen Krause. I love that title.
This is what we would call at my library a hidden gem.
Yep.
Because Norwich, that tells you nothing.
No.
It's a place, we know that. The subtitle doesn't necessarily tell you anything.
But it intrigues me.
It does indeed. We don't know if it's a self-help book. Maybe you want to have a healthy, happy life. We don't know if it's a travel book and we should all go to Vermont.
Let's do.
And it's brand new. It was just published last week, was released last week.
Really?
So this is one that's on my to-read list. I'm on the waiting list with all of my library patrons for this one. But what it is the account of the fact that Norwich has sent an Olympian to every Winter Olympics except for one since 1984.
How about that?
Right.
Are they like right in the mountains or something?
This is what the author was intrigued with. So yes, they are. They've got the weather. They have things like that going for them. But
not big mountains, but they've got mountains.
Karen Krause, the author, she decided to move to Norwich to live there, and she interviewed and she observed and she researched and discovered that the community itself of only about 3,000 people, they have a system in place almost of encouraging without pressing competition on their children to do sports. And they're wondering if maybe it is actually a social and community-wide effort that is making them so successful.
That
3 of those
support system.
Right. 3 of those athletes have brought medals back.
That is interesting. So we're going to go very, very quickly because we know what this is about. 99 Stories of the Game by Wayne Gretzky.
Absolutely. Wayne Gretzky. So, of course,
he was kind of good.
The Great One. Well, if you have the nickname The Great One, what inspires you?
Probably you're good.
In 2016, it was the 99th anniversary of the National Hockey League, and his jersey number is 99.
Yep.
So they had him write recollections simply of his life, so intertwined with hockey. And he does include a wonderful bit in there on what it was like to be handed the first non-all-wood hockey stick for the first time as technology started to take over hockey. And
but you don't have to love hockey probably to enjoy this book.
You do not. You do not. Lots of different pieces about his mentors and friends.
Thank you so much. We appreciate this list. So the list of Olympics-themed books is up on New Day's website, where you can also find a link to the Sno-Isle libraries. Up next, an update on a heroic project helping pets and their forever homes really going that extra mile back after this. Look at that.